Look at your dog for a moment. The wagging tail, the excited eyes, the way it seems to understand you without a single word. Now imagine something almost impossible. There was a time when dogs didn't exist. Not a single Labrador, not a German Shepherd, not even a tiny Chihuahua. Only wolves. Wild, dangerous, untouchable. So here's the question. How did humanity transform one of nature's most feared predators into an animal that sleeps on our couches, plays with our children, and becomes our closest companion? The answer is far stranger than most people realize, because ancient humans may not have simply tamed wolves. They may have accidentally created an entirely new species. For decades, scientists assumed the story was simple. Humans captured wolf pups, raised them, trained them, and over generations, wolves became dogs. It sounds logical, but there's a problem. Anyone who has ever worked with wild animals knows something important. Taming is not the same as domestication. You can tame a wolf, but its offspring are still wolves. And yet somehow thousands of years ago, something happened that permanently changed the genetic destiny of an entire predator. The real mystery isn't how humans trained wolves. The mystery is how wolves evolved into something completely different. Travel back around 20,000 to 40,000 years. The world is cold. Massive glaciers cover huge parts of Earth. Mammoths roam across frozen plains. Human beings live in small bands. Every day is a struggle to survive. And somewhere beyond the glow of campfires, wolves are watching. They follow human groups from a distance. Not as friends, not yet, as competitors. Both species hunt similar prey. Both live in social groups. Both rely on cooperation. Both are intelligent predators. In many ways, humans and wolves were ecological rivals. So, why didn't they remain enemies forever? The answer may have started with garbage. Yes, garbage. Around human campsites, scraps of meat, bones, and discarded food accumulated. Most wolves stayed away. Humans were dangerous. Approaching them could mean death. But some wolves were different. A little less fearful. A little more curious. A little more willing to take risks. These wolves began feeding near human settlements. Not because humans invited them, because evolution rewarded them. The less fearful wolves gained access to food. More food meant better survival. Better survival meant more offspring. And those offspring inherited similar traits. Generation after generation, natural selection quietly began reshaping these animals, without anyone realizing it. In the 20th century, a Russian scientist named Dmitry Belyaev conducted an extraordinary experiment. He selected foxes based on only one trait: friendliness toward humans. Nothing else. Just friendliness. After only a few generations, something astonishing happened. The foxes didn't just become calmer. Their ears became floppy. Their faces changed. Their tails curled. Their behavior became puppy-like. In other words, selecting for tameness accidentally transformed their entire biology. The experiment revealed something profound. When humans influence behavior, physical evolution often follows. And this may be exactly what happened with wolves. Over hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, the friendliest wolves kept living closer to humans. The most aggressive wolves disappeared from this relationship. The calmer wolves thrived. Gradually, they became smaller, less fearful, more social, better at reading human emotions, better at understanding gestures, better at cooperation. At some point, these animals crossed an invisible line. They were no longer wolves, but not yet the modern dogs we know today. They were something entirely new, the first dogs, and humanity had unknowingly become a force of evolution. At first, dogs weren't pets. They were partners. A dog's nose could detect danger before humans noticed anything. Dogs could help track prey. They could alert camps to approaching predators. They provided security in a world filled with threats. For humans, dogs increased survival. For dogs, humans provided food and protection. It became one of the most successful partnerships in the history of life, a biological alliance that would eventually spread across the entire planet. Think about this. Long before agriculture, long before cities, long before writing, humans had already formed a bond with another species. That bond changed both sides forever. Dogs evolved to understand humans better than almost any other animal on Earth, and humans evolved emotionally alongside them. Some researchers even believe dogs helped humans become more successful hunters and settlers. If that's true, then dogs didn't simply follow human civilization. They helped build it. The most fascinating part of the story is that nobody sat down and decided to invent dogs. There was no master plan, no ancient breeding program, no deliberate blueprint. Instead, countless tiny interactions accumulated over thousands of years. A wolf approaches a campfire. A human tolerates its presence. A pup inherits slightly less fear. Another generation follows, and another, until one day, a new species exists. Not because anyone designed it, but because humans and wolves slowly changed each other. The next time your dog looks at you, remember what you're really seeing. Not just a pet, not just a companion, but the living result of one of the greatest evolutionary partnerships in history. A relationship born beside ancient campfires, forged during the Ice Age, and carried through thousands of generations. The story of dogs isn't only about how humans changed wolves, it's also about how wolves changed humans. And perhaps that's why, after all these thousands of years, they still choose to stay by our side. If you enjoyed this journey into humanity's deep past, subscribe to the channel and join us for more forgotten stories of evolution, survival, and the hidden origins of who we are. Because the greatest mystery of prehistory might be ourselves.